Wolna, wolna Palestyna! Wolna, wolna Palestyna! Który jest, jak sądzę, najbardziej adekwatny wobec tego, co się dzieje w strefie Gazy, wobec tego, co się dzieje w Palestynie, aby konwoje humanitarne, pracownicy humanitarni byli zabijani. Mamy w tym momencie w strefie Gazy około 42 000 zabitych. Ponad 32 000 Stop ludobójstwu! Stop ludobójstwu! Stop ludobójstwu! Chcemy to wydalić z Warszawy, chcemy zamknąć. Zerwać stosunki z Izraelem! Zerwać stosunki z Izraelem!
Nie potrzebujesz? Ale przecież nie wejdą teraz.
Poczekajmy. W którym uczestniczył pan minister Andrzej Szejna. Mamy poczucie, że...
Nie tylko apelowałem, ale również zażądaliśmy od pana ambasadora. To słyszałem i jak to odebrałem.
Pan ambasador jeszcze...
This is
They were targeted systematically, car by car.
Celebrity chef Jose Andres told Reuters in an emotional interview on Wednesday that the Israeli airstrike that killed 7 of his World Central Kitchen aid workers in Gaza had been deliberately targeted, and he rejected Israeli and U.S. assertions that it was a mistake. Andres said his charity group had clear communication with the Israeli military, which he said was aware of the convoy's whereabouts, and he called for investigations by the U.S. government and the home countries of every aid worker that was killed in the attack. The aid workers were killed when their convoy was hit shortly after they oversaw the unloading of 100 tons of food brought to Gaza by sea. Israel's military expressed, quote, severe sorrow over the incident, and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called it unintentional. A U.S. official said President Joe Biden, who spoke to Andres on Tuesday, will speak by phone to Netanyahu on Thursday. The White House has described Biden as outraged by the attack, but the president has made no fundamental change in support for Israel in its war in Gaza. Meanwhile, the State Department said the U.S. wants a swift Israeli investigation into the incident. Andres said his organization was still studying the safety situation in Gaza as it considers starting aid deliveries again. He also condemned the war in Gaza as a whole, noting that at least 196 humanitarian workers have been killed there since October, according to the United Nations.
Firstly, the investigation found that the WCK coordinated everything correctly with the IDF in advance. The findings of the investigation show that there were, in fact, a number of armed gunmen who boarded and left some of the vehicles that were identified during the course of the event. After some of the vehicles split from the others, the forces that were tracking the vehicles that went south did so thinking that these were Hamas vehicles, that Hamas gunmen had entered. This operational misidentification and misclassification was the result of internal failures that led to a critical information regarding the humanitarian operation to not go properly down to the chain of command. The soldiers conducted the strike without any awareness that these were in fact WCK vehicles. At the time, they were certain that they were targeting Hamas. The WCK vehicles were marked with the logo of the WCK organization on the roof. However, the cameras tracking the vehicles from above were unable to identify the logos, which were not visible at night. This tragic mistake could and should have been prevented. The strike on the aid vehicles is a grave mistake, stemming from serious operational failures, mistaken classification and identification, errors in decision-making, and strikes that were conducted in violation of standard operating procedures. After the IDF Chief of the General Staff, Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi, accepted the findings, he ordered several disciplinary actions to be taken immediately. The Brigade Fire Support Commander, an officer with the rank of Major, will be dismissed from his position. The Brigade Chief of Staff, an officer with the rank of a Colonel, will be dismissed from his position. The Brigade Commander and the Division Commander will be formally reprimanded. Additionally, the IDF Chief of the General Staff decided to formally reprimand the Commander of the Southern Command for his overall responsibility for the incident. The IDF takes this incident with the utmost seriousness. We are still in the process of analyzing and implementing lessons learned from this event, but the IDF will be implementing significant measures effective immediately. This is part of our constant effort to avoid incidents like this, which unfortunately are possible when fighting an enemy that deliberately disguises itself as civilians and deliberately embeds its military activities among its own people.